right, welcome back to the Crash Hatter Podcast. That's Mitch. I'm Jacob. We got a busy. And by busy, I mean it's very top heavy.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of good games at the top. This last week was cheapest ticket. Let's go to FBC. About $4. You for an Akron football game for as low as $3. But the absolute cheapest ticket, surprisingly, is going to be going to DKR Texas Memorial Stadium for Iowa State at Texas for only $2 as your cheapest ticket.
Wow, that's something else.
Your cheapest ticket of the week is Texas football. Even though they're good, that doesn't stop it. Anyway, let's move on to our shockers. I have already picked mine, so I will start. I am taking the Tennessee Volunteers as a 7.5 point dog at home to the Crimson Tide. It's going to be a fun game. It's going to be a close game. I think there's a decent chance that Tennessee can actually come into this game and win it. I don't know if they will. I'm not guaranteeing a win. But for 7.5 points and a team that I'm moderately confident in winning the football game, I'm taking that all day, every day. So yeah, give me Tennessee as a 7.5 point underdog at home against Alabama. Someone just proposed a trade to me in our fantasy basketball league.
All right. Well, I do not have Sam or Calvin's picks yet, so we'll maybe we'll have to put their stuff on the podcast on like the Instagram or something like that. But I don't have their shockers. I don't have their picks, so it'll just be me and Srbensky today. My shocker for this week, God, there's a lot of really good picks for this week, and it's really hard to like zero in on any of them. But I'm gonna go with one that I'm fairly confident in. It's gonna solely depend on whichever QB is actually healthy, though, and that's Kansas at Oklahoma. Kansas is a 7.5 point underdog in Norman. So I am taking the Jayhawks to get the win. I don't know if how serious Jalen Daniels' injury is. I don't know how much longer Dylan Gabriel is going to be out for Oklahoma. But this Oklahoma team, I can fairly say, without Dylan Gabriel against Texas, was a gigantic mess at quarterback. So I'm taking Kansas. I'm gonna bank on the fact that their QB play is less bad than Oklahoma's. Therefore, the Jayhawks will come out with the win. So give me Kansas on the road.
The Shockers or picks?
I do not.
No. Okay.
As of yet.
Trade offers were both awful.
Oh, who was it from?
One of them was trying to trade for Cade Cunningham, and I'm like, I've already made it clear in all of our group chats that Cade Cunningham is absolutely untouchable. You will not trade for him. They offered me Kawhi Leonard. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to take injury-prone Kawhi Leonard over Cade Cunningham. Yeah, no, not happening. And then the other one was Andre Drummond for Karis LeVert, and I'm like, Drummond's projected to play more minutes, play better, so I guess we'll just keep Drummond. Anyway, outside of that, these people cannot offer trades to save their lives. Let's go to these games. We have our worst best game of the week. Our 20th game of the week, we will have the Stanford Cardinal at the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Notre Dame is a 90.3% chance to win. Notre Dame is a 17-point favorite. Over/under is 2.5. I don't know why this game is on here.
Because there's not a lot of other good games.
I guess that's true. I guess it's because of a rivalry game, but yeah, when you have Cal Colorado as one of the other possible games, that it's not a good bottom half. But give me Notre Dame. Stanford doesn't really impress me, and they're going to be on the road against a better team. So yeah, give me Notre Dame in that one. I don't know if I would take Notre Dame as a 17-point favorite. I don't know if they're going to score. I don't know if they're going to be able to cover 17, but they very well could.
Yeah, this Stanford team has not played well so far this year. Close game though in their last week against Oregon State. This is a big rivalry game, but considering Notre Dame just came off a really nice win last week against BYU, coming up with a really nice upset. Seems like Notre Dame's on the upswing. I'll take the Irish.
Fair enough. All right, we move on to our next game with the Arizona Wildcats on the road against Washington. Off bad losses for different reasons. One was a blowout, and one team lost to Arizona State, which you never want to have on your resume. Washington's an 89% chance to win, 15.5-point favorite. 73 is the over/under. Lots of points expected in this game because both these teams can put up points.
And neither of these teams can stop anyone.
That's true. I wouldn't put it against Washington to lose, but at home I'll favor the Huskies because they're a better team. But I wouldn't put it past them to lose to Arizona. Complete the Arizona L's. Lose to both of them.
Yeah, this Washington team, not a good game against Arizona State on the road last week. Definitely should have won that one. Now they head back home, though. Even if it is Arizona, I'm still taking the Huskies. Like you said, much better team, much more talented. I think they get a bounce back.
If you lose to both Arizona teams within the season, you deserve to just have your program ended. All right. And then you've got the Iowa State Cyclones on the road against the 22nd ranked Texas Longhorns. Texas is an 88.9% chance to win, 16.5-point favorites. Over/under is 50. Mitch, who you got in this one?
Give me a Texas Longhorns. Quinn Ewers is back. In the Texas Longhorns look like the Longhorns that started off the season. They looked unbelievable against Oklahoma. They blew them off the face of the earth. I was completely sold on Texas when I saw Quinn Ewers playing against Alabama. It's unfortunate he got hurt. Now he's back, and the Longhorns looked like the Longhorns at the beginning of the year against Oklahoma. Give me Texas.
Yeah, same. Iowa State has not looked super impressive, and Quinn Ewers has. Now they got Quinn Ewers back. Give me Texas in this one. Pretty easily now. And now I move on to our next game, which will be the Maryland Terrapins on the road against the Indiana Hoosiers going into Bloomington. Maryland is an 80% chance to win. Maryland's an 11-point favorite. The over/under is 61.5, coming off a heartbreaking loss last week. Indiana coming off getting manhandled in the second half last week. Haven't scored in 2 quarters. Mitch, what's your favor on this?
Maryland coming off a disappointing loss, coming off a loss to Purdue. Well, Purdue's good, but definitely they would have wanted to win that game. Come up a bit short. Now at 4-2. I think this will be a decent game, but I still think the Terrapins will come out with the win. I think it's going to be good. It'll be a good game, though. Both of these two fighting for Big Ten position. Maryland trying to still compete for the Big Ten. So I think the Terps will still come up with a close one.
Fair enough. I think the same way. I think the Terrapins are a better team. They're a more physical team, so I think they'll definitely win this one. And now we go to, according to the ACC network, a battle of Coastal Conference contenders between the Miami Hurricanes and the Virginia Tech Hokies in Blacksburg. Miami is a 78.4% chance to win. Miami is a 7.5-point spread, and the over/under is 47.5. Both of these teams suck. I think Miami sucks a little bit less. They have a quarterback that at least has a positive touchdown to interception ratio. Grant Wells of Virginia Tech has more interceptions than touchdowns. I think Miami's a slightly better team. I know it's in Blacksburg, but I'll probably favor the Hurricanes. But it's one of those games that's just, it's so bad that it's like, it's possible.
This Miami team, I think, is certainly less bad than Virginia Tech. They nearly came up with the win against North Carolina in their last game. Virginia Tech can't say the same, and they were at home. So I will go with the Hurricanes to win this one.
Yeah, like I said, one of those games, just like, it's so bad that it can go either way. Did you see the conversation between in the Colts Broncos game? Al Michaels was like, there comes a point where a game gets so bad that it's actually good. You know what I'm saying? Kirk Herbstreit instantly went, no, I have no clue what you're saying. He's like, this game's just bad. Speaking of two teams that aren't great, we've got Wisconsin going on the road to play Michigan State. Wisconsin's a 52% chance to win. Wisconsin's a 7.5-point favorite. Over-under is 48.5. Where are you going with this one?
Well, the two teams, both of which have not looked good. Wisconsin, big expectations for both squads, and they have both major league disappointed. I think this will be a good game, considering that both of them have both stunk up just as badly as each other. I think Wisconsin's looked a little bit better, though. They are going to be missing one of their running backs. Ches Maluzzi will not be playing in this one. But they still have Braylon Allen in this game, which I think he's just going to run through the Michigan State defense. It should be I think it'll be a good game, but I give the edge to the Badgers. This is where it starts to get interesting.
I would say favor the home team, but at home they've gotten crushed twice already. Yeah, I'd have to say favor the Badgers too. I wouldn't be shocked if Michigan State came out and won this game, especially being at home. But I guess I'll favor the Spartans favor the Badgers. Sorry, in a very, very much a game that I do not know how to pick. And now we move on to the biggest rivalry in basketball. Carolina. Duke is on the road against in Walls Wade Stadium. Carolina's on the road. North Carolina's 64.3% chance to win there, a 7-point favor in the spread. And the 67 over-under. I think North Carolina is a better team. North Carolina also hasn't lost to Georgia Tech yet. So I can't really, there's no middle ground to tell if they're good. Give me North Carolina, though. I think they're the better team. So.
Yeah, the Tar Heels have played way better so far this year. Duke has not done so well. They have two losses. One of them is to Kansas, which Kansas looks good. And, Georgia Tech, no, they are not good. So, give me the Tar Heels and win this one. I don't think it'll be a blowout, but give me the Tar Heels.
All right, yeah, I don't think it'll be a blowout either, especially on the road, but, I don't know. I think North Carolina is the best team in this Coastal Division. So we move on now to still the games are kind of mediocre, but we'll be getting to the good ones here shortly. But you've got Baylor's a 3.5-point favorite. Baylor's 60% chance to win, and the over/under is 54. I don't expect a lot of scoring in this game. Aren't they coming off one too?
They're both coming off buys.
At all. Give me West Virginia in the upset, though. Not confident. Give me West Virginia in the upset.
I think this one can really go either way. Both of these teams are solid teams. Baylor, I think, is probably the more talented team in this game. I think they're probably a little bit better. I think it'll be close. It definitely will be a good Thursday night game to see. But I'll be taking the Baylor Bears in a close one. I think Baylor comes out with the win.
I think it's one of those tricky games on being on the road. West Virginia's due for one of those. But anyway, we move on. We've got the Oregon State Beavers at home against the Washington State Cougars, both 4-2, 1-2 in the conference, looking to better their conference record. Oregon State is 0.3% chance to win there, 3-point favorites in the spread. The over/under is 53. Oregon State started the season with an absolute gauntlet of a schedule. So did Washington State. Washington State did not have the schedule either, though that Fresno State game is looking as good anymore because Fresno State lost to UConn. But anyway, I just want to bring up UConn winning anytime I can. But I think Oregon State gets a narrow win at home. Go to 2-2 in the conference.
Yeah, this is a really. Whoops, there goes my mouse. This is a really, really good game. I think this is anybody's game. I think either one of these teams could win it. Really, one of the better games I'd say. Well, obviously this is game two, one of the better games. So this is going to be a good one. I think this is going to be very competitive. I would not be surprised to see really either one of these teams win it. I really don't know who to pick.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go with the home team and I'll take Oregon State, but I like this Washington State team too. I could definitely see Cameron Ward and the Cougars come in and get a nice win in Corvallis, but I'll stick with the home team. I'll stick with the Beavers.
The LSU Tigers coming into the swamp to play the Florida Gators. It's LSU a 62% chance to win, but Florida is a 2.5 point favorite at home. The over under is 50. I'm gonna be a little crazy here, but give me the LSU bounce back game. Give me the LSU bounce back game. I think their defense plays really good in the swamp. Anthony Richardson has still not looked super impressive to me if he's throwing the football. Still has a negative touchdown to interception ratio. Better than 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions after the first 3 weeks, but still 5 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. I think this LSU defense is going to be pivotal in this game. I think they're going to play well. I think Jaden Daniels is one of those quarterbacks that plays just good enough to where he's not going to make too many mistakes, but he's not going to push you over the huge edge. But I've not been super impressed by either of these teams, but I think LSU has looked a bit more impressive. Obviously, that win against Mississippi State looks really good right now. So give me the Tigers to go into the swamp and get an upset. Again, I'm not very confident about that one.
Yeah, this is gonna be a really good game. Once again, these are all gonna be really good games pretty much from this point forward. But I like both of these teams. LSU is wildly inconsistent. They have games where they will play the whole game and look really good, or they don't play the whole game and they show up in the second half. I mean, you really don't know what to get out of LSU. This Florida team has got some talent. I really like both of these teams. It just makes it hard for me to choose, but I'm gonna go with the Gators being a home team here. LSU for me. I mean, Florida's a bit more consistent to me than LSU. LSU's been all over the place. I don't really know you don't know what you're gonna get from LSU. Plus, also we've seen so many of their first halves be absolutely horrible. I think Anthony Richardson could have a really good first half, which gives the Gators just enough of an edge to knock off the Tigers, but definitely one to see come 7 o'clock ESPN.
Going to be a very fun game. All right, we are going to be moving on to our next game here, which I lost my thing here, is going to be Kansas at Oklahoma. Man.
My shocker.
Oklahoma has a 69.1% chance to win. Oklahoma is a 7.5 point favorite in the spread. Over under 64.5. I think it could be a decent game if if Jalen Gabriel comes back. But nah, give me Kansas all day. Come on, Oklahoma lost 49-0 last week to Texas. Come on, give me the Jayhawks. Let's go. I'm staying on this Kansas hype train.
Yeah, I'd think differently. I picked this as my shocker, of course. I would think differently and probably pick Oklahoma if it wasn't for the fact that Kansas has already won 2 road games this year. They already went to Morgantown and won that game. They already went into Houston and won that game. So they've already proven that they can win a road game. Oklahoma, as I said during the review, looked like an absolutely stinking mess without Dylan Gabriel against Texas. This team desperately needs Dylan Gabriel. I mean, Kansas is also missing Daniels, but I think Jason Bean is definitely better than whatever guy it seems Oklahoma was throwing in that Texas game. So I think this is definitely totally dependent on the QB play and who's actually playing for which team. But still, give me Kansas. I think this Kansas team is better so far, as it seems they played better so far. And they nearly beat TCU at home, even with Jason Bean at quarterback. So I like this Kansas team to win this one.
Exactly. And now we move to SEC. We've got a non-conference game between the Arkansas Razorbacks and the BYU Cougars. BYU 64% chance to win. Arkansas is favored by 1.5 points in the spread. The over/under is 63. Arkansas really badly needs a win. Losing 3 straight, 2 of them in blowout fashion. I think they're a better team than BYU. Since it is a 12:30 game, for you guys, I do think Arkansas can go in and beat BYU. So I'll favor Arkansas slightly, just because I think they're the better team and it's not a nighttime game. Nighttime games at BYU are very dangerous. It's like the West Coast version of Kinnick Stadium at night. It's a very dangerous place to play at night. But give me Arkansas very, very narrowly.
Yeah, I think this is going to be another really good game. Or like you said, Arkansas desperately needs a win. They've had a really rough stretch here as you said, now lost 3 straight. They started off 3-0. Now they've lost to Alabama, Texas A&M, and
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State. They've lost to 3 straight teams, all ranked, but very rough stretch here. I think this is a big game for the Arkansas Razorbacks as they definitely need a bounce back. And really, honestly, so is BYU. Losing in Vegas to Notre Dame is not helping their cause. I think this can go either way, but BYU in Provo always seems to give teams trouble, and Arkansas has been very unimpressive lately. So I'll go with BYU to get the win here in a very close one. I think it can go either way, but I'll take the Cougars. Not that I like it, because I don't really like BYU that much.
Yeah. And now we move on to another big game in the SEC. The 16th ranked Mississippi State Bulldogs went on the road to play the 22nd ranked Kentucky Wildcats. Do 7-point favorite. Over under is 46.5. Yeah, give me Mississippi State all day. I would say Kentucky has home field advantage, but they did just lose to South Carolina at home. I don't know if Will Levis is going to be back. Kentucky can make it a game if Will Levis is back, but I just think Mississippi State's the more talented team. So give me Mississippi State this one.
This game's going to be totally dependent on whether or not Will Levis will be back for this game. I don't really know if I can really change my pick before the game, if depending on whether or not Levis plays. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to pick somebody, and I'm just going to say that Levis doesn't play for this game, and I'll take Mississippi State. I think Will Levis is a game changer for the Wildcats, and with him not being in the game, assuming he doesn't play, but if he's not in this game for Kentucky, I think Mississippi State easily gets a win. And even with Will Levis in, I think it'll be competitive. I still will take Mississippi State in a close one.
Yeah, no, for sure. And we move on to a big game. One of the big games in the ACC. You've got the 4th-ranked Clemson Tigers going on the road to the Florida State Seminoles. Clemson's a 72% chance to win. Clemson is a 3.5-point favorite in the spread. The over/under is 51. Mitch, who you got in this one?
This is going to be a really good game. This Clemson team, this Clemson team has looked really good so far. They've had some really nice games. And Florida State has been well above expectations. Florida State, they had a really bad call this past week against NC State. Don't know what they were thinking. But that doesn't take away from Florida State and the talent that they have on their squad. I think this is going to be a really good 7:30 game. Nighttime, I think, is definitely going to be fun for the Seminoles. But give me a very close win for the Clemson Tigers, last-second type win. I don't think Clemson's going to come out of here, blowing Florida State off the face of the earth. That is not happening. This is going to be a last-second type win for Clemson, or even for Florida State. I could see the Seminoles coming up with the upset. But I'll give Clemson a very close win. Field
Yeah,
goal, one possession game.
same here. I think they definitely get. I think they get this big. I think they get a big win here. Now we move. I think Clemson gets a win here, which basically, as long as they beat Syracuse, means they're going to secure the ACC Atlantic. But we move on now to the Big Ten, where we will have the Minnesota Golden
Huge Big
Gophers
Ten game.
playing on the road against the Fighting Illini. Minnesota is a 62.8% chance to win. They are also 6.5-point favorites. Dang. This is hard because I don't know the status of Tommy DeVito. Without Tommy DeVito, I don't think they beat Minnesota. I think Minnesota is good enough to score some points on Illinois' defense, and it looks like if you can beat 9 points, you can beat Art Zakowski. It's hard because I know it was up in the air if he was actually going to play or not. Tommy DeVito is Mo bringing back?
Yeah, he should be back, I think, for Minnesota.
Okay, yeah, it's up in the air. Illinois went on to defeat Iowa 9-6. Tackled on the second play, second and 18 play. Ankle injury. He was not limping on the sideline after leaving the medical tent. That's good. He wasn't limping, but it's just. I never thought Tommy DeVito would be the X Factor, but Tommy DeVito is most definitely the X Factor. It's hard because I don't know, but I'm going to say for now, I'm going to say Minnesota because I don't think Tommy DeVito's going to play. No, Tommy DeVito's probably going to play if he wasn't limping. Give me Illinois. They're at home. As long as they have Tommy DeVito back, they should win this football game. But this is going to be a very good football game that can go either way.
Yeah, this is a really, really stinking good game. Illinois had a good amount of actually injuries against Iowa, as they lost a linebacker, corner, a defensive back, as well as a wide receiver, all in that game. It says on ESPN article I'm reading, just says that the status is unknown for DeVito. I think this is going to be a really good game, though. It's on the Big Ten Network, and it is at noon. And I'm off at 2 on that Saturday, so I'll be able to get home and at least see some of this game, as well as, of course, the other game we're going to talk about later. But this is going to be an outstanding game. This might be the determining factor of who wins the Big Ten West. Huge game. This is 100% a 50-50. But I'm gonna take Illinois. Their defense has looked really stinking good so far. Minnesota has played really well. I could see the Gophers coming on the road, winning in Champaign. But I love this Illinois team so far. They outside of that second game after killing Wyoming, and that second game when they played Indiana and turned it over a million times and gave the game away, Illinois has been flawless. They've looked really good since then, and even with Art Sikowski against Iowa, they still found a way to win. So I like this Illinois team. They've looked really good so far. Obviously, they will need Tommy DeVito. They definitely will need him. But this Illinois team has played really well, and I would be surprised. This is going to be a really good game. I would not be surprised to see Minnesota, but I love the Illini. I'm gonna give it to Illinois.
And now we go to a huge game in the ACC. Let me take you back. We've got the NC State Wolfpack on the road against the Syracuse Orange. Syracuse 58% chance to win. Syracuse 3.5-point favorite in this game. The over/under is 44.5. Let me take you back to a little 2018 football season. The one season that I've watched of successful Syracuse football. There was a game against 5-1 NC Pack, where the Syracuse Orange also had 5 wins, looking for their first bowl appearance in a long time. They won 51-41. The last time they were able to get bowl eligible, they got their bowl eligibility winning game against the Wolfpack. Tonight, this weekend, they're going to be playing for bowl eligibility against an NC State Wolfpack team that does not look as impressive as I thought they were. Syracuse is way better than I thought they were. Granted, it hasn't looked pretty at all, but an ugly 5-0 is still good. Still better than an ugly 2-3. But of course, I'm a Syracuse fan. Of course, I'm taking Syracuse in this game. This is going to be a very fun game. I can very much see NC State winning. I think NC State's a superior team, but come on, it's going to be the Dome. The Dome is going to be electric. They're playing a ranked team as a ranked team for the first time since 2018, and I think they get their bowl eligibility win here. And I think Syracuse continues to stay the second best ACC coastal team, ACC Atlantic team. Actually, the second best ACC team, I guess, at that point.
Yeah, this is gonna be an outstanding game. 3:30 on the ACC network for some reasons. Not even nationally broadcasted, but I still get ACC network. I don't know why. But this is gonna be an outstanding game. I think this will be so much fun to see. I think this is one that can go either way. NC State has been pretty solid this year, but actually something I just remembered for NC State, I'm pretty sure that Devin Leary is currently hurt for NC State. So that would be a huge problem if Devin Leary can't play. But he had a shoulder injury against Florida State. There's no information about when he's returning, but there's a good chance he doesn't play for the Syracuse game. And solely because they won't have Devin Leary, I am taking Syracuse. This NC State team.
They're coming off a bye, too.
Yeah, and Syracuse is also rested, and NC State is not. They just had that very close game with Florida State at home. I'm not impressed by the Wolfpack. They've not really looked, outstanding so far. Syracuse is honestly, I mean, like you said, they've had some ugly games. They've also had some decent wins. I think they've just looked a bit better than NC State. So I'll take Syracuse. It's the Carrier Dome. It's called the JMA Wireless Dome. Still at Carrier Dome. I take Syracuse. This is going to be a really good game, but I like the orange.
All right, and then we've got USC at Utah. This at the beginning of the game. Utah has a 61% chance to win. Utah is a 3.5-point favorite. Over under is 63. This at the beginning of the year was why I was saying Utah was going to win the Pac-12. It's because they have USC at home. I'm very interested in this game, though. I'm very interested because USC is 100% the better team. Utah's at home. Obviously, their games at home, they have won pretty convincingly, winning 35-7 over San Diego State, 73-7 over Southern Utah, and then blowing out Oregon State 42-16. They have only not looked impressive in their last game against UCLA. Meanwhile, USC has looked pretty impressive, had that tough game against Oregon State, but looked impressive outside of that. Man, I don't know. I don't know. I know who you're picking. I know who you're picking. For the sake of Utah, when they look like they're not as good as they think they are, give me Utah. I'm very not confident in it. USC could come in here and absolutely blow them out of the water, but the home field advantage plus Utah has been very good at having slow starts to the season and then beating the team that's supposed to be competing for the Pac-12. Give me Utah. Kyle Whittingham's a good coach. They're a good team. Had a rough game, but I think the offense is going to bounce back against USC, and I think it'll be. I could go either way, but give me Utah just so I can.
Yeah, this is going to be an outstanding game. USC going on the road. This is easily their biggest test of the season so far. Might not. UCLA's look really good too, so I can't really say that. But this Utah team, this seems to be kind of like one of those scenarios that Utah has had with Oregon so many times, where Oregon, just last year, Oregon, number 3 in the country, comes into Utah. Utah just got ranked 23rd. Everyone expected Oregon to come out with the win. Instead, Utah blows them off the face of the earth. This game I think is going to be a very tough one for USC just because of how difficult Utah is to play at. We've seen Oregon, like I said, we saw Oregon fall in that trap. They went to Utah, the highly ranked team, the team that everyone liked way more, and then Utah just killed them. Now USC is not Oregon, which is why I think this is going to be an outstanding game because Oregon last year was kind of overrated. But this USC team is way better than the Oregon Ducks. I think this is going to be like a one possession game, though. USC is going to have a very tough time in this one. It's going to be totally dependent on how Caleb Williams plays. He's had 2 bad games already this year, both coming against their best 2 opponents, Oregon State and Washington State. So really going to see what Caleb Williams is made out of and what the USC team is made out of in this one. I think it's totally up in the air, but I do like my USC Trojans. I am sticking with USC. But yeah, it's going to be very fun. That's an 8 o'clock Fox game. For some reason, out of all the great games this week, that's like the only one that's at night.
And now we move to what could end up being one of the biggest determining factors of who makes it to the Big 12 championship. Who gets a big leg up in the Big 12 championship race. The Oklahoma State Cowboys will travel to Ahmed G. Carter Stadium to play the TCU Horned Frogs. TCU is a 57% chance to win. Spread is 3.5. Over under 68.5. TCU just beat the best team in the Big 12 on the road, so therefore they're now the best Big 12 team. Give it to TCU. I'm a TCU believer. I was a TCU believer. I was just only hoping they'd lose to Kansas because I wanted Kansas to win. But I think this TCU team is a pretty doggone good team. Their quarterback play is great. They have some amazing wide receivers. Obviously, Quentin Johnson last week was good. Outstanding. So, Oklahoma State's looked decent. They looked good in the games they played. But, I mean, outside of that Texas Tech game, the Baylor win is pretty good. The Baylor win and the Texas Tech win are good. Outside of that, they beat Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Central Michigan, and Arizona State. So, I think TCU is a more battle-tested team. I think they're a good team, and I think coming off the huge win, they're going to keep riding that momentum, and they're going to upset the Cowboys. Well, I guess technically they're not going to upset the Cowboys because they're favored. But rankings-wise, they're going to upset the Cowboys. But it could go either way.
Yeah, this is going to be another fantastic game. This is the crazy part. This is one of 3 undefeated matchups this week. 1 of 3. We still got 2 more. But this is going to be an outstanding game. Oklahoma State, really, really good team. TCU's got a lot of talent as well. Both teams have played unbelievably well this season. TCU obviously well above expectations, but Oklahoma State has also been very good up to this point. Both teams aren't coming off buys. Both of these teams have already had their buys. That's why I was looking at the records. But both teams have already had their buys. Oklahoma State going on the road. I think this is one that goes either way, but I'm going to do what Cervensky did earlier. I'm picking Oklahoma State just to be different. This is a really, really good team. These are both really good teams. TCU coming off a very good, nice win at Kansas. Oklahoma State coming off a little bit of a close win against Texas Tech. Maybe looking a little bit ahead, but I like this Oklahoma State team. Really good offense. Defense has honestly not really taken that much of a step back since losing Jim Knowles. So I'll give the Cowboys a close one. Really, another really good game, though. Must-watch TV.
Oh, 100%. All right, and then we go to the undefeated Big Ten matchup of Penn State and Nittany Lions, 10th ranked, coming to Ann Arbor to play the 5th ranked Michigan Wolverines. It will be a maze-out game. Michigan is a 73.3% chance to win. They're 6.5-point favorites. Over-under is 2. Michigan has not looked impressive in their last couple games. Penn State also only won 17-7 against Northwestern. So it's not like Penn State is outstanding and Michigan is not great. So give me the home team and give me my team, my Michigan Wolverines, to win in a close one in Ann Arbor.
As Calvin once said, you can never pick against your favorite team. And so, thus, we have the same here. I am picking the Wolverines to beat Penn State. But in all honesty, I think Michigan has a very good chance of winning this game. Penn State is a really good team. This is not going to be an easy one. Penn State against Northwestern had a really sloppy game. A lot of turnovers. Did not play well offensively. But now Penn State is going into a bye. They get to rest. And now they get to play the Wolverines coming off a bye. I think that's going to be huge coming into this game, considering Michigan's come off of 2 straight road games. This is going to be a really good game, though, but I think in the end, with the Wolverines at home, with it being in Ann Arbor, I give the Wolverines a very slight edge. This is going to be a very tight game, but I'm going to give Michigan a very close one. I would not be surprised to see Penn State win it.
All right, and then we go to the game of the week. The Alabama Crimson Tide going on the road to play the Tennessee Volunteers, both undefeated. Alabama's a 69.8% chance to win. Alabama's 7.5-point favorite. Over under 65.5. I took Tennessee as my shocker. I said I'm more confident in Alabama winning this game. I'm still taking Tennessee. Let's go Volunteers. I love my team. Any team that has their main color being orange, I love it. And their Smoky Mountain uniforms are amazing. And anytime I can pick against Alabama and have a reasonably decent, thinking that there's a reasonably decent chance that they can, I'm going to do it. Hendon Hooker balls out. I'm very interested to see if they get, what's-his-face back? Cedric Tillman, I believe is his name. Their star wide receiver. They get Cedric Tillman back. That's huge. Alabama gets Brett. I'm sure Bryce Young's probably going to play if he can, but I'm going to take Tennessee in a very fun, close game. And if Tennessee doesn't win, expect there to be mustard bottles on the field, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, this is going to be a really good game. Tennessee has really looked good so far this year, specifically offensively. The defense has been a little shaky, but their offense has been unbelievably good. Bama, of course, is, well, Bama. So this is going to be an outstanding game. This one's going to be in Knoxville. College game day, once again, heading back to Knoxville for this outstanding SEC matchup. I think this is one that, honestly, at this point could go either way, considering the way that Tennessee has played so far. Totally dependent on really whether Bryce Young plays or not. I'm going to go with that Bryce Young is back for this game, though, which, in that scenario, I think that Tennessee is going to have to beat Bama in the shootout if Bryce Young is playing the game. And I don't really know if Tennessee is going to be able to win a shootout against the Crimson Tide. I can definitely see Tennessee winning this game, and I definitely think that it's 50-50. But considering Nick Saban, the coach that he is, the way that he always seems to be able to find a win so far, in his career, the way he always seems to find some way to win, I really like this. I think this Bama team is going to come out with a very close win, high scoring game. I don't know what the heck the over under is, but pick over.
65.
Pick the over. There's not going to be a lot of defense in this game, but give me the Crimson Tide and what should be a very fun game to see on CBS.
All right. Well, thank you for watching. That was Mitch. That's Jacob with the Crowd Chatter Podcast. Hope you all enjoy your Week 7 college football slate with some games at the top. Other than that, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Peace out.